Hello, friends. Now let us start with model answer of yesterday's question. As you know, yesterday we gave one question from Western philosophy. So now let us see what was that question or what can be the model answer for that. See, the question pertained to Aristotle because still we are dealing with questions from Plato and Aristotle in Western philosophy. So the question was, explain Aristotle's doctrine of four causes. Is it scientifically relevant today? So basically here, what we have to do is first, this is one of the simple questions. As you know, in exam paper, some questions are simple, some are little complex. So this is one of the simplest questions, direct question actually. So here, first we will have to explain Aristotle's doctrine of four causes because that is required. Then we have to critically examine that, and particularly will have to examine whether it is scientifically relevant today or not. So this is basically the question. This will be the answer structure. And in critical evaluation and conclusion, roughly about, because anyway question has two parts. First is doctrine of four causes we need to explain, and then scientifically whether it is relevant or not, that we have to explain. So basically, if you have to write in 300 words, so roughly about 150 words, both parts can be covered. So now let us see what can be the model answer for this. Now, first paragraph, we usually start with first two lines with introduction. So here also same thing has been done. So Aristotle's doctrine of four causes articulated in physics and metaphysics. These two are basically Aristotle's books, which he has written. So this we are referring. And then we are telling what it does actually. It provides a multi-dimensional account of explanation. Aristotle contended that understanding any phenomena requires knowledge of four distinct types of causes. What are those causes? Material, formal, efficient, and final. So if you see in first paragraph, after one line, one or two sentences, we are going to answer the four causes. What are the four causes? Now, next we will take up little more description of these four kinds of causes. So what are those four causes? Let us see. First is material cause. Now, I have earlier also told if you can remember the original words of that or terms from that philosopher, for example, it may be Greek, it may be Latin, it may be in Indian philosophy, it may be Sanskrit, please do use that because then you are writing something additional. So that also will attract the examiner's attention. So here also same thing has been done. Wherever required, such terms have been used. So four causes. First is material cause. Now, in material cause, the matter or substance a thing is made of. This is material cause. For example, a statue is made of branch. So branch is material cause. Or a pot is made of clay. So clay is material cause. So this is what is the material cause. Second is formal cause. So if you see Hule or Idios, so all these things are basically Greek words that also has been written in bracket. Now, formal cause is the essential structure or blueprint. For example, here in this case, suppose statue and bronze we are taking as example. So here the shape and identity of that statue is the formal cause. So if you see material cause is the material itself, that is bronze. Formal cause is shape or structure of the statue. And now third is efficient cause. Now efficient cause is immediate source of motion or change. So here this sculptor who carves that statue, he becomes the efficient cause. So sculptor has become efficient cause here. And fourth is final cause. What is final cause? The end or purpose for which something exists. That is, statue may have been created to honor a deity or to honor a personality. So this is basically final cause. So what Aristotle says, Aristotle's whole thing is a teleological. That we are describing in next para if you see. So Aristotle's model contrasts with Plato's theory of forms, because here Plato also we are referring. So just to give an additional information on how these two philosophers contrast with each other, because these things we need to write. Because if, as I've already told how to write good answers in earlier videos, that if you can compare and contrast two philosophers in the same system or even different philosophers, you need to write that, because that gives additional information that makes your answer more, it looks better if you write those things, and it will definitely fetch better marks. So here we are comparing with Plato's theory of forms also. So Aristotle models contrast with Plato's theory of forms, and because the theory of forms emphasized transcendental ideals. So here Aristotle's thing is against that, or is a contrast with that. So Aristotle's model is contrasting with Plato's theory of forms, emphasizing not transcendental ideals, but immanent explanations rooted in nature and purpose. So this is what Aristotle's theory is, as against theory of forms of Plato. It reflects Aristotle's deeply teleological worldview. So teleological worldview is very, this is important term as far as Aristotle is concerned, wherein every entity strives towards its natural end. So, there's a purpose from one step to other, and finally it reaches, or every entity reaches its natural end. So this is teleological view of Aristotle. Now, a second part of the question will come: scientific relevance today. Whether it, what is the scientific relevance of these four cause theory or four causes which were propounded by Aristotle? Now, first is material and efficient cause remain foundational in modern science. The students or the viewers who have studied science, they know very well. In physics and chemistry also, material and efficient causes are taught, and they are there. So, material and efficient causes are in physics and chemistry, and all scientists, whether it is Newton or Feynman and all other scientists also, they rely heavily on these causes. So these material and efficient causes are directly related with science and proven by science as well, and it's quite relevant as far as science, modern science is concerned. Now let us see what other formal cause. Now formal cause reappear in molecular biology. So in science, physics and chemistry, it's not there, but it reappears in molecular biology. So what does it, as example, if we see, the genetic code functions as a formal blueprint as noted by Crick and Monod. So this is what, as example, we are giving, that formal causes are also relevant for molecular biology type of science. Final cause, what about final cause? Final cause was actually rejected by Descartes, Galileo, and Hume, etc. But again, in teleonomic explanations, what are teleonomic explanations? That again something proceeds towards logical end or towards some purpose. So teleonomic explanation, for example, Darwinian revolution, that is teleological. So Darwinian evolution, for example, eye evolving for vision. So this is basically here, if final causes are also has become relevant. Now let us see critical evaluation. How, this whole thing, how we'll critically evaluate. Now, philosophers like Edward Fraser, Alasdair MacIntyre, and Charles Taylor argue that abandoning formal and final causes has led to an overly mechanistic worldview. So basically, these philosophers, Fraser, Alasdair MacIntyre, or Charles Taylor, they basically support Aristotle. And they say that all the four causes are very important. So, in between formal and final causes were abandoned. So they are basically opposing that view. Now, again, if we see another stream of philosophers, for example, Bertrand Russell or Stephen Hawking, they found teleology is scientifically unnecessary or misleading. So they basically, teleology unnecessary and misleading means same thing. Formal and final causes are not very relevant as far as these guys are concerned, Bertrand Russell and Stephen Hawking. Now, what can be the conclusion? Though not fully congruent with modern empirical methods. So basically here, finally, we are concluding it's not 100% relevant as far as finally congruent with modern empirical methods. But Aristotle's four causes remain philosophically relevant, especially in biology, metaphysics, and systems theory, offering a holistic framework for understanding reality and purpose. So, this completes our model answer. Now, here we have first thing, we have described all the four causes. Then we have gone to evaluate whether it is scientifically, what is its relevance in modern science. And then we have critically evaluated with two streams of philosophers what they are feeling about that. In fact, whether they are relevant for modern science or not, that also is a critical evaluation only. So that is part of basically critical evaluation. And then finally, we are concluding that it's not wholly uh, relevant to modern science, but yes, definitely it's quite relevant. So that's what we are concluding. So this concludes the model answer for this question. Now for tomorrow, again, I am giving one another question. So let us see what is that question. Now this is from Indian philosophy. As I earlier also told that we'll in rotation we will give. So from Western philosophy, now we are coming to Indian philosophy. Then we'll go to philosophy of religion and socio-political philosophy. So here the question will be, examine the concept of liberation, that is moksha, across various Indian schools. So this is the question I am repeating once again. Examine the concept of liberation, that is moksha, across various Indian schools. Now this question we will be answering tomorrow. So you can definitely watch the model answer for this question tomorrow. And tomorrow again we will take up another question from philosophy of religion, for which we will be giving model answer day after tomorrow, and this sequence will continue till October end. By that time we will be covering about 200 questions in philosophy, and I can tell you these questions after a lot of study of PYQs and syllabus, and particularly last few years, last 5 to recent years study of PYQs, these questions have been selected. Some are direct questions, some are indirect and complex questions also. So I hope that this series of model answer is going to help the students of philosophy optional in a big way. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Now tomorrow again we will meet with the model answer for today's question. Thank you. Thank you.